Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Wednesday, April 9th, and welcome to another new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an actor and model, and I'm super excited to have him in the dollhouse with me. It feels so great to be back. So please welcome our very special guest, Joe Rosen.
Hey,
Hello. Hello.
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the dollhouse.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Yes. So before we kick off this conversation, how has 2025 been for you so far?
Uh, well, it's a year. We'll just say that I've had some good things happen at least.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. And you've got some projects coming up, which we'll get into and we'll talk about in this interview. But before we get to that, how how did you get? Let's start from the beginning. I like to start from the beginning with my guests to learn their journey from then to now. So tell us how you got your start in the business and at what age did you develop the passion for acting? Because you're not only an actor, but you model as well too. So you wear many hats. But tell us, how did you get your beginning in the business?
sure. Uh, I've always had a passion for acting, but I didn't start doing it until I was 29. What happened was I used to be a manager for a gym, and one of my members used to be a model themselves, and then they suggested like, "Oh, hey, why don't you go be a model? Do this, do that." I was like, "Well, I don't know, maybe I wasn't too sure." Then she literally took me over to the Giant Casablancas school over there. I like Giant
Yes.
Casablancas. I don't care what anybody says. I like Giant Casablancas. I had a lot of fun there, and that's how I started was there in 2019. That's when I first started going there. The beginning of
Late
so it's
bloomer?
been 6 years now.
Amen. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My original ambition in life was actually I originally went to school to be a police officer.
And how did that go for you? How did that work out?
Uh, well, it is hard to get into. It's just like hard to get into as the Air Force. I didn't try to join the Air Force, so it's that hard to get into. Uh, but later on in my late 20s, I started not wanting to do it anymore because I'm not going to get into that. But I noticed when I hit 30, I had less patience, as in I don't have patience for nonsense, technology or mechanical things. And I'm just going to say it like it is. I'm not going to be, when I was 20, I was more like, don't say that. Now I'm like, I'm going to say it. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm going to tell you like it is. So, and I always believe that being a police officer, you must have patience. Uh, but, and I always wanted to be an actor, but I wanted to be a police officer beforehand. I just thought that was more realistic. Ironically, it was the opposite.
And look at you now. You act and you model. And I'm going to go back to what you just said about, going from 29 to 30 and having patience. I'm 31. And so when people say a light bulb goes off at the age of 30 years old, a light bulb goes off at 30 years old. And it is something completely different. It's a whole different mindset. Like you don't have the patience to do things you would do when you're in your 20s. It's like, I'm hot, I'm ready, I'm hot, I'm ready to do it, and you're in your teens, but now it's just like, okay, at a chilled pace, I want to work on this and I don't want to rush the process. So for you, modeling, how did you develop that passion, that fire? Because I've seen some of your photo shoots and it's just like confidence. And we touched on this yesterday. My guest that I had on yesterday, Antonio, he also models. And we touched on confidence. So for you, how did you get that confidence for yourself?
Uh, what it was is that I think being able to do it or just pushing yourself to do it because if you're somebody who gives up right away, it's not the business for you. And there's going to be a lot
Okay.
of frustration. There's going to be a lot of times you might feel like you want to quit, you don't. And that's the best thing about it too. Don't let anybody push you out because that shows confidence right there. I was told to do it years ago when I was in my late teens, but I wasn't ready at the time. And I know I was because I didn't have any confidence about doing it. I was told to do it back in my early 20s. I tried to do it. It was so, whatever. But now I'm 35, so going from 29 to 35, so it's been 6.5 years almost, pretty close. and I'm actually really glad I'm doing it. I regret not doing it earlier on, but I know I wasn't ready. And one of the things too you need to try and develop is confidence. If you could be scared all you want to be, that's completely understandable. Give it a chance. It might work out for yourself, and that also gives yourself some confidence too, knowing that you actually gave it a try. If you fail, that's okay too, but you tried it.
Absolutely. And it just takes time. It just takes patience. And you talk about fear. Are you extroverted or introverted? Because me, I'm always the one to go in and oh my God. Just go for it. Go for the leap of it. I'm a Scorpio, so we always take a leap of faith. We go through
Oh.
fire and we're not afraid of a challenge. That's one thing about our sign in particular. But for you, are you introverted or extroverted?
I would a little bit of both, but I would say I'm more leaning towards the introverted part. And actually, a lot of actors are pretty introverted too, believe it or not. Robert De Niro, I've heard he's actually pretty mellow and he's pretty introverted himself. There's a lot of actors out there that are pretty quiet. You wouldn't know it because they're that good. I get extroverted when I'm running my mouth, as in if I'm doing like some kind of bit or whatever. That's about it. Or if I get really obnoxious or slap happy when I get really tired, which is a trait about me. So that's probably like one of the times I get extroverted.
Yes. So, what's a change you've made to better yourself in your career in the past year? Because we always talk about wanting to do more, wanting to be better at everything, wanting to succeed and grow in our endeavors. So, for you, what's a change that you've made?
I would say probably more a little bit more discipline, as in self-discipline, kind of thing like that. There's times where yeah, you need to give yourself a break too, and don't push yourself too much because you're not going to be so nice. As in, there's times in a place the cat's meowing. Sorry about that. There are going to be times when you're just going to need to take a break, as in like take a couple days off, relax. I got swamped last year for 6 scripts to study all at one time. It became so overwhelming. I could still do it. I could do it, but I'm like, I need to take a break from this one. Let's just take a day or two off and go back to it. That's okay too, as well. Uh, I would also say try and do some new things too, as well. Don't just stay in one area. As in, you know, I do the modeling and acting as well, but try other avenues. It doesn't even have to incorporate acting or modeling, just something different. Like for the last month, I've been learning how to speak German through Babbel. I always want to know how to speak German. Yeah, it might come in handy later on for an acting gig. You never know, but it's something to take a break from the other stuff that I'm doing as well. And that does help in a way to do more things because when you just start, you do nothing but work, and all I do really is just work. It gets to you after a while. You just need to take a break. And of course, with this business, I was taught by another actor, John Casablancas. He said, in order to keep working, you got to keep working. That's just how the business is sometimes. I might have gone off topic here, but that's the best how I can answer it.
No, because that ventured right into my next question that I wanted to ask you. I understand that in this business, we are always on call 24/7, whether you're doing what I'm doing, which is hosting a platform, or what you're doing, which is acting and modeling. You are on call, on set 24/7. And it's like you have to be able to. Hi, Tit for Tat. Yes, we will be going live tonight with Tit for Tat and Bubs the God. So make sure you guys tune in tonight for that. Great conversation. Um, Self care, that was going to be the next question that I wanted to ask you because I realized that us being in the business, it is always on call, on duty 24/7. So for you, what are your methods of self-care? I know for me, I love to get waxed. I love to get massages. I love to get my hair and nails done. And the skin is skinning today all over because I take care of myself. So for you, what are your methods of self-care? What do you do?
Sometimes I like to try and take an escape from reality, as in, I'll go to the gym. To me, it's part of my job. I was just there today, and I will say, when it's different when you're in your 30s versus your 20s. Now it's a chore. Oh God. Or I watch a movie. I do that. I don't really play video games a whole lot anymore. Very seldomly do it. It's because it doesn't have the same stimulus like it used to. Because what I'm doing now can never compare to playing a video game like I was 25. But if I'm super sick, what else am I gonna do? Just sit there and take my mind off it? sometimes as you just gotta do things for yourself. I go to rock concerts when I can. I buy tickets months and months ahead of time. I do it for myself. That's about really the very few things I do for fun for myself, really, is just go to those. And I have to budget my money in order to do it too. But sometimes that's just what you gotta do. Just do stuff for yourself. There have been times, like you said, on call, there's been some times I've said I just can't do it because of scheduling conflicts. It's just is how it is. And you can't say yes to everything, even though you much would like to, but you're gonna drive yourself crazy if you try and do everything as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. What is the most considerate thing that anyone has ever done for you in your career? And shout outs to my brother K Tooks. He is the host of the K Tooks Spot. Make sure you guys please go and check out his platform. We did a couple collaborations together, so I had to throw that plug out there.
Cool.
Shout outs to my brother. Thank you, brother, for that talk earlier, for calming me down because my mind was all over the place. You guys, if you didn't know, I couldn't see the rest of my interviews on YouTube, and this will make interview 779. We are halfway still on the road to 800. We have been grinding and working, and I could not see my videos. You guys can see it, but I can't see it. So thank you. That was an issue that I had. And brother talked to me. He talked me off the ledge because I was going crazy. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I did all of these interviews and stuff. But side note, I'm okay now. I'm calm. So you were saying, Joe, what is the most considering thing that someone has ever done for you in your life or just in your career in general?
There is many, many things that people have done for me for my career, and it's too many names to list. Because, like everybody in this business, we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for people who believed in us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like if it wasn't for the model at my gym to take me to the Casablanca saying that'd be great. If it wasn't for my employee at the time to come in for me, she canceled a concert. And as a metalhead myself, I understand how important concerts are, or anybody who goes to concerts. And I always wanted to repay her back for her kindness because if I wasn't able to make my call back, I wouldn't have gotten in. If it wasn't for people who just gave me a chance to audition from or give me a chance in general to be the character they want me to play, it meant a lot. Or other people who are here, this can help you for auditions. This can help you for when you're traveling or A, B, or C. There's way too many people to even name. And if it weren't for all those people, I wouldn't be here right now. There's so many. There's more. I can't think of just one because there's been many, many, many of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I asked that question because in these times, we have to make sure that we are looking out for one another. And it's important that you surround yourself. And I told Antonio this yesterday that you make sure that you have a tribe behind you. Like I mentioned, my brother K Tukes, who I was texting the day earlier when all of the craziness was going on before we came on, Joe. It's important that you surround yourself with like-minded people who help you, who have experience in the business. And my brother's been doing it a little bit longer than I have, K Tukes. I started right after high school
Oh,
with this platform here. And it wasn't originally called Style by Stevie. It was called Weekdays Topics. And we would do it every day at 11 o'clock. And how the name Style by Stevie came about, I was just randomly sitting in my room brainstorming one day. And I said, it's got to have a name. What is it? What do I love the most? I love fashion. I love the arts. I love film. I love beauty. Why not combine all of that in a sandwich of one and call it boom, Style by Stevie? And that's how the name was born right
hmm.
from then and there. I'm like, weekdays topics, it can't be called that. People want something catchy. So when they see the name Style by Stevie, people think automatically, ooh, style, fashion. No, it's way more than that. It's film, it's culture, it's food, it's all of these things that I know that people love. So definitely. Now, my next question that I wanted to ask you is how do you stay so centered? How do you stay so grounded? Because I know in this business, we can sometimes lose ourselves and lose focus and become distracted. So, how do you stay so centered?
Uh, you mean like focused? You mean?
Yes, yes.
Oh, oh. Well, I think it's because something that I want and something I'm very passionate about and I truly love. And when you love something, you're in it for all the way. It's like kind of like being married. I view myself. I'm married to my career. I'm not married anymore. A long, long time ago. Once was enough. I can't do it again. This is the career that I'm in. This is
Your
what I'm married
passion,
to.
your
Your
calling.
passion, and when you truly love something, it's to the death. I know it's a very extreme way of putting it, but if you're either in it or you're not, it's like or like being in the military or getting a tattoo. It's like you're either all in it or you're not. It's not like a regular job work at the grocery store like how I used to, and be like, oh, I'm gonna take the day off, blah blah blah. Like no. And I always believe if you view this as more of a job versus a career, you don't really have as much passion for it as you may believe you do. Because there's been a lot of times I've had to cancel things, make sacrifices for the career. Like, yeah, I wanted to go here for this party, but I couldn't make it because I got hired for a gig. And that's just how it is. And it's ruined some relationships I've had with people throughout the past because when you're in it, you understand it when you're in it. Because, like, I used to be, like, again, I wanted to be a police officer. It's the same thing. You're on call sometimes. Or if you're a doctor or a firefighter, you got to understand the lifestyle. It's just is what it is. It's called a career.
But at the same token, I get what you're saying too, because I've had that issue as well. It's about finding balance, and me, I try to find the
Yeah.
balance between, what's the beautiful part about it is our family members and our friends, they understand it. That is like, I love what you're doing, I get what you're doing, this is your passion, but make sure I try to, even when I get a minute of the day, because I don't tape, I used to do Saturday interviews, like on Saturday with my
Yeah.
co-host, but that has changed. And I said, my mom just recently got out the hospital. I said, this is a balance for me, being able to host this platform. But I'm a woman. Women, we're capable of finding that balance. And
Oh, yeah.
it's an ongoing job for us. We are able to keep going and find that balance. But it's not making it anything. But my mother always said, you make sure that you make time for your family. And so
Oh, yes. I know.
weekend I text my cousin and everything, but it's definitely a balance. So I get exactly what you're saying, a
Oh,
hundred
yeah.
percent.
Oh,
Now you talked about being a police officer and that passion and that drive. Now a little birdie somewhere told me that you're very competitive as it pertains to playing chess, and you taught yourself how to play. So tell us about that.
well, interesting you said competitive because believe it or not, I am not a competitive person, though I am in the business for it. Again, another irony in life. I always enjoyed the game of chess. I taught myself how to play at the age of 10 years old. I was playing earlier, but I didn't know how to play. I was just playing on the computer, and the computer always wins. Oh, well, the thing locked up on you because you're winning. And I used to play competitively. I didn't do a whole lot of it because it was just, I'm not big on, I was a kid. I didn't really want to travel. I was trying to teach one of my actress friends of mine, and she just wasn't, it's not on mine still teaching people. It's one of those games where you kind of got to learn it earlier on. You can still teach it later on. It's like learning a second language. You kind of got to learn it earlier on. Uh, uh, and I enjoy it because to me, it's a form of meditation. I do play by
And
myself
it's
sometimes.
therapeutic.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is very therapeutic. It is very therapeutic. I find I can be a little more calm about it too as well. And I don't care if I win or lose. Sometimes it's nice to play with somebody. I always enjoy that a lot. And it does can teach you strategy. It just takes your mind off of everything else too. That's another reason why I really enjoy it.
That, and for me, playing Taboo or Uno or, well, Monopoly is definitely
Oh,
competitive. I would
oh
not
yeah,
suggest you have a couple drinks and then play with your family because it becomes competitive. That and playing cards.
I love
So
Monopoly.
um find the things that bring you joy. And that was going to be my next question for you, because I'm a very joyful person. I have a bubbly personality, and I wanted to know what brings you joy, what makes you happy, because in all of the darkness and all of the chaos, we have to find some sort of joy. So for you, how do you find your joy?
Trying to make time for people that I know want to have time with me. There are some people that we've been trying to get together for a while. It's just been scheduling has been an issue sometimes. Sometimes also distance. That's also been another factor as well. Um, that makes me feel pretty good that people do really want me there, and I feel good because I also want to be there as well. And you always know when you feel welcome versus they just want you there because for whatever nonsense reason. And you always can tell the difference. Um, that does make me feel pretty good. And I've had a few people every once in a while come up and just want to talk about like, oh, I saw that and this and that, and I want to, can we get a picture and going? That makes me feel really good. Somebody said that's more like an ego thing. I disagree. To me, it makes you, because how would you feel if you do all this work for so long and nobody cares about it? Nobody likes it. Nobody could give two craps about you. You know, and that stuff like that does make me feel really good, way deep down in here, because it makes it all worth it. All the letdowns, all the stress, all the up highs and lows, just for somebody to really say, "Hey, I really liked it," even if it's just one person. That makes me feel really good. That brings me some joy. Going to the concert also gives me some joy too. I get to see people that you're like, "Oh, wow, hey, well, I know I'm gonna blow nosebleed seats, but I'm glad to see the show." And but again, also seeing people who do I care about and also care about me too. That makes me feel really good too. And they know that they want to see me, and I want to see them as well. And that makes it feel really good. It can be kind of a lonely business in its own way, but when you know you have people who are support you and truly do, it makes it much more easier to endure during the darker times.
And I'm so glad that you said that because I've realized that being in this business, you friends come once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
That again, that support circle, and it's important that you keep that support circle around you. And sometimes you can feel so alone. You can be surrounded by a lot of people, and you can sometimes feel alone to yourself. And it's just like something is missing. I've got all of the puzzle pieces put together, but something is missing. So I'm so glad that you said that.
Yeah, there was one time I got invited, it was a couple years ago, to a film festival. It was like a few short films. I was in one, and and my actress friend invited me to it, and we went together, and there was some people there I was hanging out and joking. But a lot of people had their own little groups of chit-chatting with and over here, and I was kind of like, I still felt outside. I told her, I'm kind of glad you were with me today, because even though we had all these people here, I still felt very alone. And it's been,
Interview. All right. That was mom. See?
that's okay.
The balance of family, the beauty, all of it.
That's okay. But anyway, she said, like, I didn't expect you to say something like that. Like, oh yeah, all these people, I didn't really feel like I was with anybody. I felt very alone. So I told her I was really glad you had me come with you, and we were together for this little festival or whatever. And that's how a
Yeah,
lot. And believe it or not, that's really how it is. Quite a lot of times when I'm go to places, I know I'm here, but I'm not saying it's all about me. I know that, but it just feels like. Sometimes it has felt like, what the hell am I doing here right now?
I'm laughing at tit for tat. Hey mom, y'all so nosy. Y'all some nosy fashion dolls, ain't you? Oh my goodness. But I'm gonna go back to what you just said, Joe. Sometimes we need to be alone. There was an actor that I interviewed back in 2022, and he's a very, very good colleague of mine. His name is Damian T. Raven, and you remind me so much of him. He's very centered. And one thing he said in that interview particularly is like, I had to get back to me. I had to get back to the pieces of myself. I had to find myself. So sometimes while you're alone, you can take everything in, just be in the present. We talk a lot about being in the present, being in the moment. And I know for me, I've had moments in my career where I've interviewed people. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm sitting with you right now. I've seen your work. I'm a fan of your work, and others and many others. But it's moments like that that made me like pinch myself, like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. And I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting because God has put something into me, or the universe, or whoever, the earth has put something into me where it's just like, okay, this is your purpose, this is your calling, this is what you need to do. So continue on. So we take those minutes by ourselves, every minute, every moment of the day, and we sit and we reflect on what we want to do. So don't look at it as I'm alone, because sometimes I've had those same exact feelings
Yeah.
where I felt alone or I felt abandoned in some sort of way. And that's something that I've had to deal with throughout my life. is abandonment issues, or feeling alone, or feeling left out or inadequate. And it's not your fault. Another thing we do is we blame ourselves, like people don't like me, people hate me. No, you're not the problem. You're
Oh,
not
no,
the
of course
source of it. We sometimes gaslight ourselves, and it's the thing about it. Sometimes being alone can be a beautiful thing because you learn so much about yourself. We talk a lot about self discovery. And I know for me, I fear certain things. I might be the bravest person in the room, but at the same time, I get scared. I feel alone. I feel left out. And you know what that makes me? That makes me human because these same exact emotions that I feel, other people feel as well too. And it's good to know that I'm not alone because when you fear things, that's a part of being human. When you're sad about things, that's a part of being human.
yeah.
Another part of being human is uh, feeling like today I was not feeling my best. Like I said, when I spoke with my brother Cages, all of that stuff that was going on, I was upset. I wasn't mad, like bawling mad to the point where I was just like, I can't do this. But it was just to the point where I was just like concerned. And again, these are all of the things, all of the facets that make us all uniquely us. So there's nothing wrong with being alone or being to yourself because you have to take time and reflect. Like every now and again, we have to, what is the word I'm looking for? Unwind and
Yeah.
just, okay, unpack everything. Like, let me take a minute. When we come home from the day, when we come home from set or whatever, and we're sitting, it's time for us to just sit there in that moment and just take it all in. Like, man, I can't believe I just did this at one point in my life.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with an actress. She's coming on the show this year as well too. And we just conversated before setting up the interview. And one thing she kept stressing to me is the purpose of time. Time is of the essence to each and every one of us, and it should be cherished. So we should make sure that we are continuing to cherish each and every given moment of the day. And even if it's alone, because first thing we do, we wake up in the bed, we wake up and we open our eyes to see the beautiful sunshine that God has put here and Mother Nature has put on this earth, is we're in that mirror. It's us staring back at our reflection. So it's important and imperative that we take the time to just cherish all of the greatness of things that we've done in our life, our highlights and our lows in our career.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
brings me to the next part of our conversation, highlights. You have at least 8 projects that will be jumping out release. Some of them you've already worked on. So 2025 is here. And I say this is the year of awakening, with us being in the spring, a springtime awakening or revival. So 2025, which project are you looking forward to being released this year?
Oh, we got more than one, eh? We've got Welcome to the Game, Clint's chapter, which is based off of a video game, believe it or not, which I never heard of until I got hired for it. We did the concept movie first, which is called Welcome to the Game, and then we decided to, the writers and directors decided to revamp it or reboot or remake it, however you want to put it. And I do think, I'm not a huge fan of remakes. There are very few that I actually do really love more than the original one. And I will say this one here is probably going to be much, much better than what we had done a few years ago. I had the supporting role in that one. I played the guy who invented the game. He puts himself in there, and I'm actually playing that guy. We have another one we did again. Another one who did a video game I got hired for is a fan film for Fallout. Hollywood beat us to it. I mean, we were working on it for the last 3 years. Hollywood beat us to it, but we were already working on it, kind of thing. That's a short film that's gonna be released, hopefully this month, if not May. And we got another one which is like a thriller called American Woman. I got the lead in that one. There's two leads. I'm the opposite of Mike. I'm the villain. She's not. And then we got two big. I got a few other projects working this year, like Clown Dies at Midnight Number Two, Clown Harder. I guess support day player in that one, and then we have Seduction. That one's like a horror thriller. He's a detective. I play a detective who's working on a case regarding a supernatural being. And then this summer, I got another project where it's also another horror film. And yesterday, I got a big booking yesterday, which made me feel pretty good because I was pretty down about a lot of things because been doing auditions after auditions, flap after flap audition. And once again, another irony is I didn't have to audition. I submitted and I got it. So I'll be playing in a feature film over in California for the first time as Captain Hook. You know,
See, it's all falling in line. It's like all of the puzzle pieces. This is what I was saying about 2025. This is the year of awakening where things are all starting to line up for each and every one of us, and rightfully so. So make sure that you guys are going and supporting and checking out Joe's projects. And stay tuned. It's going to be a whole lot more, and I'm manifesting it. It's important that we manifest things and put it out there in the universe because when you put it out there, it comes to fruition. And I'm a firm believer of that. So, yeah.
oh yeah, we oh yeah, another thing too. I forgot. I directed the first short film ever. It's a one-time done, and I wrote it. It was called God and Stan. It's like a dark comedy slash drama, and I don't want to give it away because it was based off a stand-up bit, but that's about all I can really say about it. I play Stan. There's only four actors in the whole film. I'm in it just because it was just easier, cheaper to do it for free versus hiring another actor.
Mm. So, you guys, you heard it. It's 8 different projects and
Oh,
more and more and more that is coming in the future for you. So congratulations, Joe.
oh, thank you.
And I'm looking forward to you. I'm a fan of your work, and I can't wait to see what else you have in the horizon. And speaking of in the horizon, what is something else that you're manifesting because you're directing, you're acting, you're modeling, you you do it all. You're a man who wears many hats. What is something else that you're manifesting for 2025?
Getting my damn car paid off. That's one thing. I hope. Uh, let's see. Well, there's quite a lot going on. I'm trying to think of one. I was gonna probably try and write a book about something. I won't get into what it is. Just a thought. I don't think I'm actually gonna go do it. Um, it's more like an educational book, and I always like education. The older I've gotten, the more I actually do appreciate certain things for education. And I think certain things only work in an education manner is if you want to. Like for example, I went to college and I took psychology, part of their criminal justice degree, and my professor said, just like education, I think is that therapy only works if the person really wants to go do it. As in, the person only will learn about the particular whatever hell is that they're trying to learn is if they want to go and learn it. You know, you can't just like Spanish class in high school. I fell asleep in Spanish class countless times. You know, it wasn't my fault. It was just early. Then again, 10 o'clock in the morning is still early for me. Whatever. But you know, if now I'm learning how to speak German, it's only working because I'm kind of trying to learn a second language now. So it's kind of working. If that makes any sense.
Yes, and I'm gonna go back to writing. It's important that as actors, as creatives, you tell your story because when you're on set and you're wearing that other character's, you're having to carry that other character's cross. You're having to put yourself in that character's shoes. You're no longer Joe anymore. You are whatever character that director or that producer calls you to be. And sometimes that can be difficult for a lot of actors because it's just like, woo, I might have to pull back from this. This is kind of heavy for me. And a lot of actors have experienced that. Method actors have experienced that where they've gotten so deep into the character.
Oh,
Like, you know where I'm going? Heath Ledger, the Joker. Like, he was into this character.
oh
He
yeah,
was really into this character. And then just like we lost him. But I can understand
yeah.
why he did what he did. At the same time, you wanted to make that character so believable. Outstanding job. But we lost him in it. So it's important that we separate the character away from the real person because at the end of the day, when you go home and you take that character off, you're no longer who you are on
It
set. But you are who you are. You're Joe. You're no longer the character you're portraying. So yeah.
it's sometimes it is. I was talking to somebody else on another NC-17 the podcast. I was talking to Josh Wynn about it. And he asked me if I ever had any issues trying to turn off a character, and I've said, yeah, there's been quite a few that I've, because a lot of some of the character I go head first into it. I go all the way, even just there as a day player or a supporting character. I go all into it because again, as an actor, either you're all in it or you're not. I've auditioned for some characters where I will admit I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't get into their mind. Other characters, it was so seductive and very deep, and it's just like you couldn't even climb out of it sometimes. Uh, Going back to everybody always asks me about the same particular character, and I'm okay with that. From Devon from Desperate Souls, I picked up smoking again, just because I can get in that mindset. Because he's a depressed young man. He's quiet. He doesn't have any confidence. He's suicidal. I stopped doing anything that was fun. I didn't go out in the sun. I didn't go to the gym. I just ate cans of soup out of the can because I'm lazy like that. But so is he. He doesn't care. And everything I did just to get in his mind. I didn't take a shower. I showered. I didn't wash my hair. I didn't shave. I didn't do anything. It just says get into the mind of the character, how he feels. How would I feel if I was him?
Right.
A, dir- a director friend of mine told me too that you have to create everything for the character, even if it's not in the script. Create it. Okay, well, is your character like pizza? What kind of pizza does he like? Is he a smoker? Well, how does he smoke his cigarettes? Does he smoke like this? Does he do it this way? What brand is he smoking? Is he a cigar smoker, cigarette smoker? Little itty bitty tad bits like that can make the character stand out here or there or whatever. Little itty bitty things like that. Does he, you know, is he allergic to shellfish? I mean, I'm not. He might be.
Again, you take all of those things into consideration of even developing a character, because it's what the producer wants. Like, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, to make sure that you bring the character to life. And what's so great about it is that you have your own creative input as well too, in what you want, developing the character, the process of developing the character. What hair color do you want? Do you want the person, the actor, to gain weight or not gain weight? And I remember Christian Bale had to gain weight for one of his roles, and
Yeah.
then in his off season, he had to really get back in the gym to lose it. So I mean, you have to do what's required in order to fit that role that that producer and that director
Oh
wants.
yeah.
I did a horror film,
Oh,
and this was during the pandemic back in 2021, and the film was called The Assistant to Reconnected, and I played a college professor, went in with no acting experience whatsoever. And thank God for my colleagues, Roman, who was also my co-star. We had a scene together, and then my brother Sky Valentine. Amazing. They kept me grounded throughout this entire film. Like, they already got it. They've been in television, they've been into acting, they've done it. Me, I have no experience except for hosting this platform, and I got the role on my birthday.
ooh.
And I remember the creator of the film saying, "Hey, I want you to be in a film." I said, "You want me to be in a film? What's the catch? I've never acted before a day in my life." And so, how my hair is long today, y'all. When I say change, when that producer or director calls for you to change your appearance or change your look, because I mean, I've been told I look different every day. I'm always changing my look. It's no thing for me because I work in fashion.
Yeah.
But for this role, he wanted me to have short hair. And I almost died because I'm having at least like 32 inches of hair going down my back. I got the role on my birthday. And my brother K Tooks can vouch for me. And I told my brother K Tooks about it. I said, "Brother, I got a movie role." So, oh my goodness. We went short for the role. He the short little pixie cut. He styled the character, and I said, "Okay, I kind of like it. I would do it again." Would I do short hair now? No. I love my long hair too much. I love the Beyonce of it all. I love the Beyonce of it all. The hair blowing in the wind, or the J Lo effect.
Okay.
But send us the link. I'm gonna check it out. I sure will, tit for tat. But yes, went in, nailed the table read and everything. And this was virtual. We shot the film virtually. So I don't know how he did it. Shot it right there on his iPhone. It was amazing. Great process. Great process. And it was sort of a way for me to get my feet, just for me, a teaser for me to get my feet wet into acting. But yeah, that's what you can expect. If a producer or director says, "Cut your hair for this role," cut your hair for this role. Many actors that I've interviewed here on this platform said, "I've had to grow a beard for this role.
Oh
I've
yeah.
had
Oh
to
yeah.
cut my hair. I've had to do all of that. Taylor Box, and I'm pretty sure you know Taylor, Joe. Taylor Box had to grow his beard out, and I start looking at his, uh, what is it? His headshots. I'm just like, he looks so different because I mean the beard was so long, but he didn't really he really didn't have a beard when we did our interview, but he grew his beard out. So if that producer director says, okay, grow your hair out, grow a beard. And for women, we're required to change our hair. We're required to change our hair a lot. Guys, actors too, male actors too, they're required to change their hair if they want you to cut it all off
Yeah.
or go bald. Again, like I said, Christian Bale, when I read somewhere that he had to gain weight for a role, it's just like, okay, you got to do what's required. You got to do what's required.
Oh yeah, it's still Stallone had to gain weight for Copland. I know
Mm-hmm.
that. I there was a couple of roles I had to pass on because they wanted short hair, and the reason why that was is because I was filming a couple other films, and if I cut my hair, consistency of filming, it wouldn't make me. What happened? Well, what long hair, short hair? What's going on here? So I had to decline those. One film I do have to do. I will have to get my hair cut short soon. Uh, I won't say when, but it's going to have to happen eventually. And I will tell you what. Some roles I would not have gotten if I didn't have long hair, but I do miss the short hair look sometimes.
And this is the season for it. My mother's hair is, I want to say, I God, I wish I could have showed her, but she was on the way out. But her hair is short, and this is the season for it. So if that producer director says cut it short, cut it short. But it can always hair grows. It can always grow back. Or we've seen behind the scenes how they would use prosthetics in certain films, or how they would add on to what you don't have for certain shows and films. So that team that producer has there, they're skilled, they're experienced. So just
Oh
like
yeah.
today, how I am put together, the team behind me, myself included, it's a team behind them on set, on film as well
Oh,
too. And I've seen it even in some of the most horror films. I would go back and watch behind the scenes. Like that thing looks so real. It looks so real. The cuts would look so real, and all sorts of things in the horror films.
oh,
So it's great to always go behind the scenes and see exactly for yourself. And then when you see the film and you're watching the actual film, you're just like, wow, they really went through all of this. And it's so worth
oh
it.
yes, it is. I I do enjoy watching behind the scenes more so now, and also sometimes watching films that have director's commentary on it. It's very interesting. Uh, I don't watch my own work a lot because it's so weird. I've seen some of my work. I haven't really watched all of it. I would say about 25% of it I've seen, but I don't really go out of my way because it's just so weird. It's just an odd thing. A lot of big name actors don't watch their own films. I'll watch it with somebody if they've seen it already, and I'll give the behind the scenes stuff during it, or I'll go full blown Mystery Science Theater on it. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but that was a funny show. Uh, it's behind the scenes. Sometimes I remember this one movie, this Hollywood movie, and I won't say the name of it just because I thought the movie itself was boring, but the behind the scenes was way, way more interesting than the movie itself. I won't say what the name of the movie is because just in case, so if you never know, get a lawsuit slapped on me 20 years later.
Yeah, don't do that. But to that point, I'm laughing because when I did that horror film, The Assistant, behind the scenes, I got to see it. The viewers didn't know this, but the day we shot the film, it was so funny because the other actors were saying each other's parts. They wasn't saying the line they were supposed to say, but it was like a mix up, and it was funny. So the producer was just like, "Y'all got it from here. Go on." And he let us just take over and do our thing, each and
Oh
every
yeah,
one of them. But it was so funny because they were saying each other's parts mixed up. I did well, I remember my lines, and everybody did, but they got it mixed up. They were saying each other's parts, and it's funny. They're like, no, this is my part, but it was fun. So it's always the behind the scenes, like the blooper reels is what's even more fun. And then
oh
the
yes,
actual projects, to see the actual project itself come to fruition and it's done beautifully, is so worth it. It is
oh yeah,
definitely worth it.
oh yes. I wish that some of the movies that I was in would have blooper reels as an extra bonus because those are always the best kind sometimes. And I've seen some old blooper reels from the 30s and 40s films. They're like, oh wow, how'd you guys get these? And they're swearing. They couldn't swear back then in movies, and sometimes it just makes it even much more fun. And you never look at films the same way anymore when you're on a film set. You really don't. And I want to say congrats on your first project, by the way, because you never know where it's going to lead to. Because if you didn't do it, you might not be doing something else. That's how I always see it. And I always put all my auditions on YouTube because you never know who's looking. And I've
Mm.
had some people say, I don't get why you didn't get the role. We want to hire you for this. You never know. Like De Niro, he auditioned for The Godfather. I think it was for The Godfather, the character, Marlon Brando's character. He didn't get it, but because of his audition video, he got it for the second movie. Things work out,
And see,
you know. And
and in due time, it all comes to fruition. You might not get the role on that first try, but that means that no means that you just come back. No, not right now, but come back again stronger, harder. And sometimes what people will do to really get that role is they'll come really as, dressed as the character or what they feel the character would be. And boom, they get it just like that.
oh,
So trust. It might not be no the first time, but keep going
oh yeah,
for it. You'll get it. You're going to get a lot of no's in this business. And even with me, with, hosting a platform, I gave myself an opportunity. And that's because I've been told no. And I was like, okay, watch me. I'll show you. That's the mindset that we all have to have as it pertains to going for a role. And I'm going to go back to what you said for a minute about not being able to watch yourself on television. Um, I couldn't even do that at one point but it was for a different reason. It was more so I would critique myself harshly and people would be like, why are you beating yourself up? You did great on this interview. Why are you beating yourself up? I just couldn't watch the interviews. Now I can go back and watch them without critiquing. I have learned. But sometimes we are our own worst critics. And that's something that I think a lot of people we have to deal with is if other people are saying you did well, you did great, keep going. That affirmation right there is to keep going, that you did awesome. But it would be for me because I would beat myself up so bad. But now I'm at a point where I don't do it anymore.
oh good. That's good. And yeah, and yes, just like you say, I was thinking the same thing. You're always going to be your own worst critic. I worked with photographers. And he's like, I'm not that good. And photographer who was running a workshop, he looks at him and goes, you don't think you're good? You've got excellent style. This is coming from a guy who's been photographing for 35 or so years, if not longer. And
Mm-hmm.
he's telling the new guy, I'm going, are you kidding me? You're excellent. Even I said the same thing. And it's a normal thing to do. And I think even big name Hollywood actors are just the same thing about themselves. But it's just we're all just the same. We're all the same boat in this own way. No matter how big or small, that's just how a lot of us really just are. We go to work, we pay our taxes, and that's about it. It's all the same thing. It's just I like for the modeling photos. I got used to looking at my photos. I'm still not used to seeing myself on camera. I have to watch the audition videos because just to make sure it's good before I send it in. That's really about it. Um, it's just so. I know this is gonna seem weird. It's like watching yourself have sex. Again, I am not the best analogy person here. What people are into different things. That's cool with me. Whatever. We're all consented adults. But it's that's just how odd it is. And especially some scenes I had to do. I've had to do intimate scenes. I'll call them then. And I don't want. I definitely don't watch those. Like okay, no, I don't know. I'm not,
It's so crazy doing those because I've interviewed one of my interviews. I asked my guest about it, like, how difficult was it for you? And he said he bumped his head in the car. It was funny because the other person that he was doing it with was in the car and he was a little bit taller. But the thing about it is, it can be so crazy because it's everybody there. It definitely is. It's like I can't describe it, but it's funny though. Again, those blooper reels. So
one time we were doing one on. It was on Desperate Souls, and we had an intimate coordinator, intimacy coordinator. It's kind of a tongue twister for me for some reason, and it was like a new thing. And I actually kind of personally, I actually really do like having an intimate coordinator there because to not only make the actors feel comfortable with each other, to have somebody try and advocate for you as well. for me, I'm cool with whatever. Depends, let's discuss it first and we'll go from there. I always like to make sure my scene partner says what they're okay with. I'd rather have them be in command of what we're doing because and here this is one of the things that I'm actually very on the reserve side about. It's not about if I have to take my clothes off, and I had to do that for some times. I do the art modeling too. That's no big deal for me. It's just I don't want my scene partner to think that I'm trying to be one of those guys. And there's been a lot of those in the modeling or photographers or directors or actors or whatever who have ruined it for all the rest of us who don't act unprofessional, who do act mature and professional. And conscientious about the other person that we're working with in particular scenes like that. So
Yeah.
I always tell them, and industry coordinator as well, I say, whatever you feel comfortable with is okay with me. I'll let you take the command about it. We're not doing some adult film here. If we were no holds barred, no pun as a joke, by the way, that's my sense of humor. But, I want them to know that, hey, look, the more you know who I am, we sit down, chit chat, and I always like to do that too. I like to sit down with them. We chit chat for a while. We get to know each other. That way we feel comfortable with each other. And we know that, yes, we are professional people and we're going to act in a mature manner. And we're just acting. We're not really going to do anything.
Right.
Like for the one scene we had to do for Desperate Souls, I had to wear a pair of underwear. I wore a piece of a yoga mat ripped up in between my legs. And I put another pair of underwear over that and she had this makeshift tape thing all over her, and she sat on half of a inflated yoga ball, small yoga ball between us. So there's no contact at all whatsoever. And the thing with me is that the more the other person feels comfortable with me and trusts me, the more I will feel comfortable because then I
Yes.
will know that I won't feel too worried about them thinking I'm something or whether when I'm not. Yeah. Because I've heard a lot of horror stories about things, and it can go either way, believe it or not. And I always worry. That's my biggest worry. So
But that's the key right there, making the scene seem real
yeah,
and making sure that your partner is comfortable. And yeah, I've had never had to do anything like that, but mine was just a college professor. But it'll come for me later on down the line.
yeah,
But still, again, it's a level of professionalism. But it's all about that making your partner feel comfortable. And intimacy coordinators, yes, they have those, y'all. I've heard that before in other films and projects as well too. And I think it was actress Regina Hall. She was talking about it. Somebody was talking about having an intimacy coordinator there on set, during the scenes for one of the shows. I can't remember. But yes, they have those. So that's another thing for you. Um, Stepping outside of your norm for as far as taking on roles that make you feel uncomfortable. What advice would you give to actors on that? Because it can be scary. Like if you're portraying someone based and a lot of actors I've interviewed have done crime shows where they actually have had to go and reenact a crime and it would seem so real. And it's just like we're in the place that it happened at. Deep breaths. A lot
yeah.
of people have had panic attacks or anxiety attacks just even thinking about the place they're in, the time it happened, where it happened at, location and all. And it's just like, how do I tap into this character here? So, what advice would you give to actors on tapping into that place where you know it's uncomfortable for you, but you have to do it for work?
Uh, I well, they taught us to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes,
Now with that being said, you and everybody else has the absolute right to say no to something. If there's something that you strong like, I recently was let go from a project. I've been booked for 2 years because for me, I am not going to wear contacts. You only get one set of eyes. I don't care if you want to put contacts in your eyes. That's your business. I'm not going to run the risk of going blind. I don't care what anybody says. I got released from it. I won't say the name of the project just because that's not my place to say that. But that, and I have, there's, if I feel in danger, I'm going to say no, like physical danger.
right.
We were filming Fallout, the Fallout Highwaymen, the fan film short film in Woodstock, Illinois, and I'm dressed up in the blue vault suit, and I have a antique rifle from World War II, a real rifle, and I'm walking up and down the parking lot of this grocery store, and I felt so uncomfortable because there's cameras, people can not know what we're doing, and they said, like, do you want to go over here and do it? I said, absolutely. We are not walking around next to the courthouse with a gun, with a right.
Uh-huh.
I said, absolutely not. We are not doing that. I've already done something here I didn't feel comfortable with doing. Absolutely not. No, 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 no. Because if it's something that might involve the police, we can actually get in big trouble. I mean, or
Yes.
I truly feel unsafe, not uncomfortable, just not safe. I'm not going to do it. Uh, like some people jump out of airplanes or they go skydiving for fun. You're out of your mind. You're absolutely out of your mind. I don't go on roller coasters. My favorite ride at a theme park is the bench ride. The bench is screwed into the ground. It doesn't move. I don't care. I don't know why you invited me here. I'm riding the bench. That's where I'm gonna sit. Go have fun. Here's my tickets. Go play. Whatever. I don't care what you do. And some people look at me because some of the scenes that I've done where I've done some nude scenes, or I do the art modeling, which it requires that. People think I'm nuts. Like, what are you talking about? This is nothing. I'm I don't gotta worry about jumping out of the plane and I get the parachute that has the anvil or the Wile E. Coyote backpack with all the dishware in it, whatever. To me that's fine. Uh, uh, stuff stuff like those scenes don't bother me. Is just making sure that the my scene partner is okay. But truly, again, I will emphasize get comfortable with being uncomfortable because you're going to be stared at a lot sometimes, like the runway modeling, you're going to be stared at. Just brush it off. But again, if you do have the right to say no to something. I don't
Oh
care.
yeah.
Don't let somebody pressure you. Don't let somebody try and talk you into. Don't let somebody try and butter you up. You have the right to say no, and don't sell yourself a crap.
I'm gonna go back to
And,
what you just said for a minute about jumping out the plane and without a with a parachute. Another thing, stunt actors. I've been sat with a lot of stunt actors. I remember Spitfire, and he was Rain in Mortal Kombat.
oh,
And that day we did our interview when we was fixing the wrap. He was like, "Oh, shoot, I could go all day. Um, I'm being set on fire next week." I'm sorry, what? Stunt actors? They take their job very, very seriously. This is a job. So listen, and do not try this at home to my viewers out there. Please don't. Um, I should have put that disclaimer out there, but yes, that these are real things. He was going to do that. You can either injure yourself or run the risk of breaking something permanently.
yeah.
So it's important that we make sure that you're consulted with a professional, a martial arts professional, or whomever. Don't go out here and try to stunt yourself at home. I just wanted to point that out there because I've sat with a lot of martial arts experts, wrestlers, bodybuilders, powerlifters. Diesel Ramos, who's one of the ones that I've sat with, and they've talked about, hey, it's nothing for me. But yeah, you don't want to injure yourself permanently. So make sure you're talking with an expert before you do
Oh
anything.
yes.
I would not advise you guys at home. Don't go out here and set yourself on fire. Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
But yes.
Oh yeah. We had a stunt guy on. I forgot to mention this one that's being released. I want to say in September, called The Blood Moon. Whereas, but if you like vampires and sex
Oh
appeal
yeah.
and rock and roll, that's the movie right there as a horror film. And I work with William. I can't remember pronounce his name, but he's a stunt guy, a great guy and everything like that. He's worked with Bug Hall. He's been like the Little Rascal movies in the '90s. He's worked with him, and we were doing some of the stunts on the Blood Moon. And it was pretty good. He almost injured me a little bit. It was an accident. We were just doing like this is how you do it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Really, it truly was. And some stuff he does, and I went, "You're nuts." One guy. This is when I was just first year doing things. I was just doing background at the time for this movie called Trial of the Chicago Seven. We filmed over here in Grant Park in Chicago. And one stunt guy comes up to me right in my face like this, and he goes, "Are you Joe Rosen?" And I said, "Uh-oh, I must have done something." Well, it turns out we went to high school together. He was a grade below me, and right out of high school, he became a stuntman. We're chit chatting a lot, and it was pretty cool because his dad's a stunt guy too over there in the movie. And I will say, stuntmen usually are pretty much the cockiest people on the planet. However, they did say this, and this is true. They do have it. They can back it up. That's for sure. because there's a lot of big name people that are like, even though they could probably do the stunts to big names, they always have the stunt guy there because just in case stuff. Because let's say the actor breaks his arm, well, now we get to delay shooting. That's going to cost more money. That's why sometimes you get the stunt guy. God bless them, the stunt guys. I do my own stunts, believe it or not. I have injured myself. Uh, in my shoulder, I got a bad shoulder, and it made it even worse than what it is. But sometimes when I see movies like the beginning of the movie Goldeneye, I look at that, I'm going, get the stunt guy. I'm not doing that. No way. Jump
And
out of
that's
airplane,
what,
nope.
but they make, but and then you have to make that scene so real, so believable,
Oh yeah.
to the point where it's like okay, and then afterwards you'll feel it a couple days. You will feel it. That
Right.
injury, you will feel it. So be careful out here to anybody who is being a stunt person or whatever, because you break something permanently, you be out for a couple days. And I remember Drew Barrymore and Justin, I can't remember, I think it's Justice Thoreau. They did a scene in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, and they literally had to get physical with each other. Like, I think he said that he threw her and she punched him and kicked him, and he wind up injuring some parts. So I mean, it's important that you make sure that you consult with anybody before you do anything. Talk with a stunt person who is skilled and experienced in this business, and that'll be my advice to anybody out here. Or check out some of the past interviews that people I've sat with, and they'll tell you firsthand what it's like having an injury, because this is your body. You're using your body now, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So
Oh
make sure
yeah.
that you're being careful.
For a
Definitely.
fun thing we did, we talking about people. I'm somebody who goes in and wants to make it look real. I'm that kind of guy. So on episode 2 of The Red Huntress, we had I was talking to the director and I said, "There's a scene here." I was asking, "Can the lady, the other scene partner, Scarlett, her name is, can't she actually slap me across the face?" I said, "Because let's make it look real. Can't she actually do it?"
Uh-oh.
So we
I
did
know
some
where
takes.
this is going.
Oh, and we did some takes. Everybody was like, even the blind all of a sudden could probably see. Like, I don't want to miss this. We did some. Right, I said, "Give me all you got." Well, if I give you all you got, you're going to be really hurting. We did 3 takes. The third take, she got me right across the eye and face, like nose, like that. That one really hurt. I will admit, it was an accident. She just missed me from here. She got me there, and I'm like, okay, I can't do another one. But they got the shot, thank God. And so that's how I go into it too. Like, if I'm willing to take a risk, let's do it. I don't mind making it look real sometimes.
Yes,
It's
it's
fun.
believable to the viewers, to us, the consumers, and we're watching this. So it's got to be believable. It's got to be so real, 100%. So before we wrap, Fashion Dolls, this conversation was so good, Joe. What are some gems that you would give to actors on perfecting their technique, on perfecting their craft? Because we talked a lot today about stepping outside of your norm, outside of your comfort zone, doing things that you wouldn't typically do as it pertains to acting, as it pertains to going for certain roles. So, what are some gems that you would give to actors? Because I know a lot of actors want to know, how can I get noticed at an audition? What can I do? So, what are your top gems that you would give them before we wrap? And then you guys will get the final thought of the day from me
Okay.
after Joe.
Okay, here's a piece of advice. I got quite a bit of advice, matter of fact. Here's a good piece of advice. When you go to audition, I learned this when I was doing improv at the Chicago Actors Studio. And he said, when you go for an audition, do not give an angry audition because being angry is the easiest thing you can do. Okay, you're angry. What else can you do? Do not give a sarcastic one. This is the second easiest. Okay, can you do anything else? Try if they tell you something differently, then try and give one that's kind of funny. Because what's more memorable, funny or anger? You're gonna remember funny.
Yep.
Sometimes certain dramatic ones, like say misty eye kind of thing, or sentimental, that might also work too. You never know. Um, so just don't do. And practice always makes perfect. Okay, you didn't get it. That's fine. Practice. Don't beat yourself up over it. Yeah, you might be bummed. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's easy to do, but try not to. Um, yeah, sometimes just to make an audition video just to do one. Just sometimes just do that. That's good practice too. It keeps you, you know, the things going. Practice is great. And that way you're kind of ready. Let's see here. See if you could try and interpret an audition differently. You might interpret an audition one way, try and do it another way. Okay, you're kind of a little more upset here. Well, try and do it happier, or try and be a little more nonchalant in a sense of how the character might get. Try and do it different deliveries. And also show how versatile you are, too. Um, I will give a piece of advice that was given to me by Josh Grooms and Aaron. Uh, I can't think of her last name off the top of my head from over at Giant Casablancas. They said this. They said, if you want to give up after your first no, then this is not the business for you. And because it's going to happen. Even they've said, I've been doing this for however long, and I still get no's once in a while. I do get yeses, I do get no's. And that's why you gotta grow some thick skin. And I know I had to learn how to grow some
Yes.
thick skin, big time. And not just as in, do it again when you get told no. Also advocating for yourself, standing it up for yourself, speak up for yourself, things like that as well. Uh, you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna lose your patience. Yeah, it's normal. It's okay if you do. He even now, if you audition for an agency and they tell you no. Okay, they told you no. Can you audition for them again or submit later on? Yeah, they do. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes it's a year later. It's okay. Keep doing it. Maybe it might change your mind. You've probably might have improved from that point of time as well. I got allergies, so I'm a little stuffed up here, so excuse me. Uh, but that's what it really is. You can always do it again. You can always have more auditions. It's perfectly okay. Just because you got a no is not the end of the world. Just because this one big name over here will say told you no does not mean it's the end of the world. I submitted for something for Marlboro one time. I never heard back. Years ago, believe it or not, this is like over 10 years ago. I was in way better shape than I am now. I submitted to Playgirl. I never heard back. Whatever. It happens. I had shorter hair too, so
And you'll get more, and you'll get more. It's more to come. It's more to come. Again, the power of manifestation is powerful. And that's something that I want each and every one of you that are watching this interview, this conversation before we wrap, real quick, is manifestation. And today's to tie into what Joe just said, the final thought of the day, which is about manifestation, believing in yourself. Today's final thought comes from Misty Copeland, the ballerina, and I love her. She says, be strong, be fearless, be beautiful, and believe that anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. So that means that you have to stay encouraged and surround yourself with like minded people. You're going to get a lot of no's in this business. So I'm glad that Joe chose that as his final, as the advice that he would give to people, because what do I tell you all the time? What do I tell each and every one of you all the time? Again, I hate to bring zodiac signs into it, but I'm a Scorpio. My mother's a Libra, October 7th. She raised me to be a fearless, strong, independent woman. And I say this because I want you all to be encouraged along the way. No means on spelled backwards. That's what I tell you guys all the time. No is on spelled backwards. So when somebody tells me, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, watch me. And I've always been the one to prove people wrong. And that's been since I was 8 years old. I can remember. I was defiant. I was rebellious. I wanted to do my own thing. And I grew up with four brothers, two sisters.
mm.
So out of each of all of my siblings, we've all had our own personality. Pretty big family. But the one who went to the beat of her own drum, who was kind of, in a way, rebellious a little bit, for sure. And it's paid off. It's paid off in the end result because my mother is the inspiration that keeps me going. That guiding light, that light to guide me. So make sure that you are surrounded by people. When you're being told no, because I've been told no, you can't work with us, you can't speak with us, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'd be like, watch me. And I proved them wrong, and I went and I started my own opportunity. And people just flock towards it. So when you do your own thing, when you branch out and you do your own thing, people will gravitate towards that. So branch out. Sometimes change can be scary. Going for an audition, going for a table read, going for anything is just you just want it to be perfect. We are all perfectionists in our own divine right. And I'm going to bring up one of my favorite singers, and I just brought her up a few minutes ago, Beyonce. Beyonce is a consummate perfectionist. Another one is Michael Jackson. They were both consummate perfectionists. And if you go back and you watch them behind the scenes, every dance step, every song lyric, everything was perfect at every show. They have had their hiccups. Like I remember at one of Beyonce's concert, because everything was like a glitter ball, a disco ball. And at the end of the show, she came flying down on this big, humongous horse that was like, she named the horse Renee. It was like a disco ball. The horse was malfunctioning, and she gave him that look like, y'all better get this straight.
Yeah.
So the consummate professional. And I think a lot of us are the same way. We've adapted that mindset. So have that same mentality. Keep working. Keep persevering. Don't let no stop you. You keep going. And if someone doesn't give you an opportunity, you go and create your own opportunity. If you like to create film, you like to write your scripts. Take some of your journal monologues, turn it into a documentary about your life. And not to be vague or vulgar, but I've seen women actually do that right from their personal experience. You've heard about the VJ
Yeah.
monologues, shall I say, where women would share each and every one of their personal experiences. And then there's something for men as well too. It's called something else. I can't remember what it was, but everyone should write from their own personal experience. And if no one is going to give you an opportunity to film it or make it, get your equipment, figure out who to talk to and invest into your film equipment and start producing and directing. And I'm pretty sure Spielberg has done the same thing. Ryan Coogler, who's done Black Panther, has done the same thing. You have to start somewhere. Style by Stevie, what did I do when I created this platform? I had a tripod and I would call people on Messenger. How me and Joe booked the interview, we were exchanging messages back and forth. But it was different than how we're doing it now because I don't think Instagram was really out when I first started like that. But I would call people on Messenger because I didn't have the Facebook Go Live thing. And we would do the interviews that way. And I would do it in a part of my room where I'm sitting on a stool and the tripod is sitting right next to me holding up the tablet and you can see the guests and it's like we can't really see them and it'll be a phone right there. So I mean we've come a long way from that. We've upgraded. So it's so funny how far we've come, but we look back and we reflect on those things. You got to start somewhere in the journey. The journey isn't going to be easy. You're going to have some obstacles and roadblocks, but keep going. I want you all to remember that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And always fight back if you got to, as in fight for yourself. Don't be picking a fight. I mean, just like stand up for yourself kind of stuff is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Joe, before we let you go, let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out. I had such an amazing time.
Oh, I did too. It was really, really, really nice to be on here with you. Thank you so much for having me. Uh, I am on Instagram as well. I'm on Joe underscore Rosing. I don't know if I can type this in here. Do 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 boo, boo. Eh, eh, eh. There we go. And I'm on Facebook too. It's just Joe Rosing with a space in between my name. Everything's all pretty much simple. The Joe underscore Rosen is the same as my Twitter. I'm on there a whole lot because I can't figure out what the hell it's for. Um, I'm also on LinkedIn under Joe Rosen. It's the same thing. That there is a lot of. I got other platforms too that I don't really go on. We'll get into that another day. No, I do not have a website yet. It's still in the works, kind of thing. So. But mostly I'm on Facebook or Instagram, and those are the best places to reach me to. And I'm also on IMDb as well.
All right, there you have it, fashion dolls. Make sure you guys please go and check out Joe, check out his work and support. Joining me tomorrow, we have Gerald Brown. Make sure you guys tune in. And this interview will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. If you have not, head on over there, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be updated on new shows being loaded. Again, you guys can see it. I can't see it, but again, make sure you guys head on over there and subscribe and check out the community tab. We have some information there as well too. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 4. Take care, everyone.